India has a rich history of social reformers who have helped establish the foundations of modern India, and, in some cases, have affected a worldwide impact through political action and philosophic teachings. Especially given India's leaning towards oral and mythical rather than a written tradition throughout much of its history, it is almost impossible to put together an exhaustive list of social reformers who have lived through the ages. Below are some of them. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. October 2, 1869 – January 30, 1948, was the preeminent leader of Indian nationalism in British-ruled India. Employing non-violent civil disobedience, Gandhi led India to independence and inspired movements for civil rights and freedom across the world. The honorific Mahatma applied to him first in 1914 in South Africa. A euro is now used worldwide. He is also called Bapu in India. Born and raised in a Hindu, merchant caste, family in coastal Gujarat, Western India, and trained in law at the Inner Temple, London, Gandhi first employed non-violent civil disobedience as an expatriate lawyer in South Africa, in the resident Indian community's struggle for civil rights. After his return to India in 1915, he set about organizing peasants, farmers, and urban laborers to protest against excessive land tax and discrimination. Assuming leadership of the Indian National Congress in 1921, Gandhi led nationwide campaigns for easing poverty, expanding women's rights, building religious and ethnic amity, ending untouchability, but above all for achieving Swaraj or self-rule. Gandhi famously led Indians in challenging the British-imposed salt tax with the 400 km Dandi Salt March in 1930, and later in calling for the British to quit India in 1942. He was imprisoned for many years, upon many occasions, in both South Africa and India. Gandhi attempted to practice non-violence and truth in all situations, and advocated that others do the same. He lived modestly in a self-sufficient residential community and wore the traditional Indian dhoti and shawl, woven with yarn hand-spun on a charkha. He ate simple vegetarian food, and also undertook long fasts as means of both self-purification and social protest. Gandhi's vision of a free India based on religious pluralism, however, was challenged in the early 1940s by a new Muslim nationalism which was demanding a separate Muslim homeland carved out of India. Eventually, in August 1947, Britain granted independence, but the British Indian Empire, was partitioned into two dominions, a Hindu-majority India and Muslim Pakistan. As many displaced Hindus, Muslims, and Sikhs made their way to their new lands, religious violence broke out, especially in the Punjab and Bengal. Issuing the official celebration of independence in Delhi, Gandhi visited the affected areas, attempting to provide solace. In the months following, he undertook several fasts unto death to promote religious harmony. The last of these, undertaken on January 12, 1948 at age 78, also had the indirect goal of pressuring India to pay out some cash assets owed to Pakistan. Some Indians thought Gandhi was too accommodating. Among them was Nathuram Godse, a Hindu nationalist, who assassinated Gandhi on January 30, 1948 by firing 3 bullets into his chest at point-blank range. Gandhi is commonly, though not officially, considered the father of the nation. In India. His birthday, October 2, is commemorated there as Gandhi Jayanti, a national holiday, and worldwide as the International Day of Non-Violence. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, October 2, 1869–January 30, 1948, was the preeminent political and spiritual leader of India during the Indian independence movement. He was the pioneer of satyagraha resistance to tyranny through mass civil disobedience, firmly founded upon ahimsa or total non-violence, which led India to independence and inspired movements for civil rights and freedom across the world. Gandhi led nationwide campaigns to ease poverty, expand women's rights, build religious and ethnic amity and accountability, and increase economic self-reliance. He is the chief leader in mythical satyagraha. Kabir. Kabir was a mystic poet and sant of India, whose writings have greatly influenced the Bhakti movement. The name Kabir comes from Arabic al-Kaaba, which means the greater, the 37th name of God in Islam. Kabir was influenced by the prevailing religious mood of his times, such as old Brahmanic Hinduism, Tantrism, the teachings of Nath yogis and the personal devotionalism of South India mixed with the imageless God of Islam. The influence of these various doctrines is clearly evident in Kabir's verses. Eminent historians like R.C. Majumdar, P.N. Chopra, B.N. Parai and M.N. Das have held that Kabir is the first Indian saint to have harmonized Hinduism and Islam by preaching a universal path which both Hindus and Muslims could tread together. Bertrand Gandhi. Bertrand Gandhi was from Mahoova. He advocated female education. He is a 19th-century Indian patriot who was a friend of Mahatma Gandhi and contemporary to Swami Vivekananda. He and Swami Vivekananda drew equal attention at the First World Parliament of Religions in Chicago in 1893. He won a silver medal in same. His statue still stands at the Jain Temple in Jaipur. He was key member of Indian National Congress, and as a reformer established Society for the Education of Women in India. Under the banner of SEWI, several Indian women came to USA for higher studies. Gandhi Philosophical Society, School of Oriental Philosophy, Jain Literature Society in London. And he delivered 535 lectures in USA and Europe. He also died at age of 39 like Swami Vivekananda. Today Government of India has recognized his service by issuing postal stamp in his memory. Jamnalal Bajaj. Jamnalal Bajaj was an industrialist, a philanthropist, and Indian independence fighter. Gandhi is known to have adopted him as his son. He is known for his efforts of promoting khadi and village industries in India. With the intent of eradicating untouchability, he fought the non-admission of Harijans into Hindu temples. He began a campaign by eating a meal with Harijans and opening public wells to them. He opened several wells in his fields and gardens. Jamnalal dedicated much of his wealth to the poor. He felt this inherited wealth was a sacred trust to be used for the benefit of the people. In honor of his social initiatives, a well-known national and international award called Jamnalal Bajaj Award has been instituted by the Jamnalal Bajaj Foundation. Vinoba Bave. Acharya Vinoba Bave was an Indian advocate of non-violence and human rights. He is considered as the spiritual successor of Aman Yadav. Vinoba Bave was a scholar, thinker, writer who produced numerous books, translator who made Sanskrit texts accessible to common man, orator, linguist who had excellent command of several languages, and a social reformer. He wrote brief introductions to, and criticisms of, several religious and philosophical works like the Bhagavad Gita, works of Adi Shankaracharya, the Bible and Quran. His criticism of Jnaneshwar's poetry as also the output by other Marathi saints is quite brilliant and a testimony to the breadth of his intellect. A university named after him, Vinoba Bave University, is still there in the state of Jharkhand, spreading knowledge even after his death. Many people gave him land, and this land he severed for poor. ÄMT. ÄMT was an Indian social worker and social activist known particularly for his work for the rehabilitation and empowerment of poor people suffering from leprosy. He spent some time at Sevagram Ashram of Mahatma Gandhi, and became a follower of Gandhism for the rest of his life. He believed in Gandhi's concept of a self-sufficient village industry that empowers seemingly helpless people, and successfully brought his ideas into practice at Anandwan. He practiced various aspects of Gandhism, including yarn spinning using a charkha and wearing khadi. And founded 3 ashrams for treatment and rehabilitation of leprosy patients, disabled people, and people from marginalized sections of the society in Maharashtra, India. Sriram Sharma Acharya. Sriram Sharma Acharya was an Indian seer, sage, Indian social worker, a philanthropist, a visionary of the new golden era and the founder of the all-world Gayatri Parivar. He devoted his life to the welfare of people and the refinement of the moral and cultural environment. He pioneered the revival of spirituality, creative integration of the modern and ancient sciences and religion relevant in the challenging circumstances of the present times. To help people, His aim was to diagnose the root cause of the ailing state of the world today and enable the upliftment of society. Acharya recognized the crisis of faith, unregistered trademark s ignorance of the powers of the inner self, and the lack of righteous attitude and conduct. During 1984–1986, he carried out the unique spiritual experiment of Sukshma plus or minus a, meaning sublimation of vital force and physical, mental and spiritual energies. Ishwar Chandra Vidyadhara. Ishwar Chandra Vidyadhara was a philosopher, academic, educator, writer, translator, printer, publisher, entrepreneur, actor, cricketer reformer, and philanthropist. His efforts to simplify and modernize Bangla prose were significant. He was a Bengali polymath and a key figure of the Bengal Renaissance. Vidyadhara championed the uplift of the status of women in India, particularly in his native Bengal. Unlike some other reformers who sought to set up alternative societies or systems, he sought, however, to transform orthodox Hindu society from within. Vidyadhara introduced the practice of widow remarriages to mainstream Hindu society. In earlier times, remarriages of widows would occur sporadically only among progressive members of the Brahmo Samaj. Tondo Keshav Karve. Tondo Keshav Karve was a social reformer of his time in India in the field of women's welfare. Karve was one of the pioneers of promoting women's education and the right for widows to remarry in India. The Government of India recognized his reform work by awarding him its highest civilian award, Bharat Ratna, in 1958. The appellation Maharshi, which the Indian public often assigned to Karve, means a great sage. Those who knew Karve affectionately called him as Anna Karve. Balshastri Jamkar. Balshastri Jamkar is known as father of Marathi journalism for his efforts in starting journalism in Marathi language with the first newspaper in the language named Darpan in the early days of British rule in India. He founded Darpan as the first Marathi newspaper. He was editor of this newspaper during the British rule in India. This turned out to be the beginning of Marathi journalism. He had mastery in many languages including Marathi, Sanskrit, English and Hindi. Apart from that, he also had a good grasp of Greek, Latin, French, Gujarati and Bengali. Dr. B. R. Ambedkar. B. R. Ambedkar was an Indian jurist, political leader, Buddhist activist, philosopher, thinker, anthropologist, historian, orator, prolific writer, economist, scholar, editor, revolutionary and the revivalist of Buddhism in India. Ambedkar was born in Maharashtra. He was also the chief architect of the Indian Constitution. He formed the Independent Labour Party. Ambedkar spent his whole life fighting against social discrimination, the system of Chaturvarna the Hindu categorization of human society into four varnas and the Hindu caste system. He is also credited with having sparked the bloodless revolution with his most remarkable and innovative Buddhist movement. Dr. Bhimrao Ramji Ambedkar has been honoured with the Bharat Ratna, India's highest civilian award. Annie Besant. Annie Wood Besant was a prominent theosophist, women's rights activist, writer and orator and supporter of Irish and Indian self-rule. In 1908 Annie Besant became president of the Theosophical Society and began to steer the society away from Buddhism and towards Hinduism. She also became involved in politics in India, joining the Indian National Congress. When war broke out in Europe in 1914 she helped launch the Home Rule League to campaign for democracy in India and dominion status within the empire, which culminated in her election as president of the Indian National Congress in late 1917. After the war she continued to campaign for Indian independence until her death in 1932. Vithal Ramji Shind. Vithal Ramji Shind, who was a prominent campaigner on behalf of the Dalit movement in Maharashtra and established the depressed classes mission to provide education to the Dalits in Maharashtra. Gopal Hari Deshmukh. Gopalakrishnan was a social reformer in Maharashtra. Deshmukh started writing articles aimed at social reform in Maharashtra in the weekly Prabhakar under the pen name Lokhitvadi. In the first 2 years, he penned 108 articles on social reform. That group of articles has come to be known in Marathi literature as Lokhitvadinkai Shatapata. Kandukuri Veeresalingam. Kandukuri Veeresalingam was born on April 16, 1848. He was a social reformer who first brought about a renaissance in Telugu people and Telugu literature. He was influenced by the ideals of Brahmo Samaj, particularly those of Keshab Chandra Senator. He got involved in the cause of social reforms. In 1876 he started a Telugu journal and wrote the first prose for women. He encouraged education for women, and started a school in Dhaulasharam in 1874. He started a social organization called Hitakarani. Unfortunately, he passed away on May 27, 1919. Jawhar Lal Nehru. Jawhar Lal Nehru was an Indian statesman who was the first Prime Minister of India, from 1947 until 1964. One of the leading figures in the Indian independence movement, Nehru was elected by the Congress Party to assume office as independent India's first Prime Minister, and re-elected when the Congress Party won India's first general election in 1952. As one of the founders of the non-aligned movement, he was also an important figure in the international politics of the post-war era. He is frequently referred to as Pandit Nehru and, specifically in India, as Panditji. His birthday is celebrated as Children's and Teenagers' Day in India. Vijay Pal Bagel. Vijay Pal Bagel is an environmental activist. He is known for his efforts in protecting environment at grassroots level through traditional methods. He is a prominent campaigner on behalf of Missionaries Jola movement for fighting against polythene across India, first planter of divine tree Karpur rickshaws at all famous pilgrims of around the world, worshipper of nature and lead promoter of spiritual environmental values having species of flora. He devoted his life to conserve nature, save water, green resolution, reduce pollution and stop global warming with the theme of Think Globally Act Locally. Peoples are called him Greenman. Ferayuri Veeramasamy. Ferayuri Veeramasamy Thornton Feraya or EVR, was a businessman, politician, Indian independence and social activist, who started the self-respect movement or the Dravidian movement and proposed the creation of an independent state called Dravidasthan comprising South India. He is also the founder of the socio-cultural organization Dravidar Kazhagam. Pandurang Shastriya Thaval. Pandurang Bajith Shastriya Thaval, also known as Dadaji, which literally translates as elder brother in Marathi, was an Indian philosopher, spiritual leader, social reformer and Hinduism reformist, who founded the Svadhyay movement and the Svadhyay Parivar organization in 1954, a self-knowledge movement based on the Bhagavad Gita, which has spread across nearly 100,000 villages in India, with over 5 million members. He was also noted for his discourses or pravachans on Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Upanishads. He was born in the Konkan village of Roa in Maharashtra, India. He was one of 5 children of Sanskrit teacher Vaidinath Athaval and Parvati Athaval. When Athaval was 12 years old, his grandfather set up an independent course of study for the young boy with individual tuition. Thus, Athaval was taught in a system very similar to that of the Tapovan system of ancient India. In 1942, he started to give discourses at the Srimad Bhagavad Gita Pathshala, a centre set up by his father in 1926. 9. Athaval read diligently in the Royal Asiatic Library for 14 years, reading and digesting every non-fiction literature. In 1954, he attended the Second World Philosophers' Conference, held in Japan. There, Athaval presented the concepts of Vedic ideals and the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita. All the participants deeply impressed by his ideas and wanted evidence of such ideals being put into practice in towns across India. A Dr. Wilson Compton was impressed with Athaval's ideas and offered him a post in the U.S., where he could spread his ideas. Athaval politely declined. 9. Saying that he had work to accomplish if he wanted to show the world a model community peacefully practicing and spreading the divine Vedic thoughts and the message of the Bhagavad Gita. See also, Swami Keshwanand, Ram Manohar Lohar, Bertrand Gandhi, Swami Sayajanand Saraswati Shahu IV of Kolhapur, Mahatma Jyotirao Phule, Ramakrishna Paramhansa, Acharya Vinoba Bave, Swami Dayanand Saraswati, Shivaranjani Tanjore, Swami Vivekananda Drive Bir Ambedkar. References